Okay. Hi guys, good afternoon, and I am back with my next tutorial. And as promised in the last tutorial, from today on I would be starting with the pitfalls and troubleshoots of cytopathology, that is fine needle aspiration cytology. And I would be starting with the most common lesion that you come across when you enter for MD first year path, and even in your clinical practice, if anyone is watching who has a private lab, that is the lymph nodes. All right. In my experience, the most common lesion that you come across is either the breast or the lymph node as far as the blind FNAC is concerned. Okay, before that, before I start with the actual topic, I thank you all for all your support. We are a 350 plus family now, and I received a lot of encouragement and really positive messages from juniors on my last video on anemias. I thank you for that. I thank you for all your comments, or your the inputs that you gave me, which would help me to improve the quality of the further lectures that I take. And I'm really overwhelmed. It is an impetus for someone like me to bring to you better quality videos and better quality tutorials and to improve myself. Thank you, a big shout out to all my viewers, subscribers, people who've liked, people who've disliked. Thank you so much, because each and every one of you offer me a perspective to go back and think where what I did right, what I did wrong, and to improve the video. All right, so without wasting too much time, let's start with the pitfalls of cytology, cytopathology to be precise, not exactly cytology. And I'll be starting with lymph node. Today I'll be mainly dealing with the benign lesions. This quote is for a couple of MD students that contacted me, who told me that they found pathology to be a very vast subject. If they are not able to understand it. Sometimes it appears to be tough. Yes, it is vast. Yes, it is tough because it is not segregated into fields. Like for a surgeon, you just have to see the surgery aspect. For a physician, you just have to see the medicine aspect. For an OB-GYN, just the obs and gynae aspect of the disease. A pathologist has to give each of these branches a diagnosis. Hence, he should have an idea, or she should have an idea of each branch, each subject, what surgery is to be done, what treatment is to be given, because the disease pattern, the pathogenesis changes with interventions, changes with medicines, or in itself it might have varying morphological presentations. And I consider a pathologist to be a detective who gathers clues and then reaches to a conclusion, so which helps the clinician to give the diagnosis. So this is for all of you. One small step that you take in accepting pathology, in trying to understand it, will be a giant leap for you in understanding the subject in its totality. And I will try and help you out in that process. You will not be able to understand it in a year or so. You need to constantly go back to it, keep revising, keep reading your books, so that you can actually get a grasp about what pathology is. All right, so please don't get disheartened, just keep trying, and I assure you, when you finish your MD, you'll have good mastery over the subject. So what is fine needle aspiration cytology, and why is it important? Fine needle, I'll break down the words for you. Fine needle means you use a needle with a fine bore. Aspiration, you try to aspirate out a few cells of the lesion. Cytology is you try to see individual cell after aspirating it out, after smearing it on a slide, to reach to a diagnosis. Okay, the biggest area where fine needle aspiration cytology helps you is in deciding whether the lesion is benign or malignant. Because when you tell a patient about the benign or the malignant nature of the lesion, the clinician can decide that he has to manage it conservatively or he has to go for a surgery. So this becomes something like a word I am going to use, which you are asked in your exams also, ROSE, ROSE. ROSE is rapid on-site evaluation of any disease which has come into play now, just like frozen sections. where you are standing in the OT, near the OT, and the surgeon is performing a procedure. He gives you a piece of tissue. You can make a crush smear, or you can quickly make an imprint, stain, and see, and then tell the clinician there and then within 10 minutes whether the clinician has to go further in the surgery or he has to stop. So something like that, but taking a little more time than a rapid on-site evaluation, is what an FNAC is. FNAC in its essence is a blind procedure where a patient might clinically present to you with a lump over here, a lump in the breast, maybe in the cervical area, in the anterior posterior triangle, submental, submandibular, thyroid lump. There's so many locations and so many lumps that you can come across. These lumps can be well observed, well seen, protruding lumps, easily palpable, or they can be a bit deep seated, which you cannot see by your naked eye, but you can feel with your in your palpation. So this is essentially a blind procedure where you try to locate the lump, you try to fix it, and then you try to perform the FNAC, get some sample and see, and give your result. Sometimes the lesions are deep-seated retroperitoneal in the abdomen or near some major vessel or nerve. And there is a chance that you might damage that nerve, damage that vessel, or you might not be able to reach the lesion as a blind procedure. There what you do is known as the guided FNAC. It could be an ultrasound guided FNAC or a CT guided FNAC, depending on what kind of institute you are working in. Both these procedures, after only difference is that one has a vision, a guide, and the other one is a blind procedure. Rest all the steps, all the stains, and all the interpretations are almost the same. So I will be moving on to the procedure now and tell you the pitfall there. Now I have two images. One image is this one, and one image is this one. Now, when you do FNAC, there are two ways of doing it: aspirational and non-aspirational. You have to know that there are certain organs that are very vascular, or when the organ is very superficial, when the lesion is very superficial, you can easily reach the lesion, and you can assess that yes, it is not a very fibrous, very thick lesion, and you can assess yes, I'll get good amount of material from it. There you do the non-aspirational technique of FNAC. In non-aspirational technique, which is this image 2, you just take a needle. You have to put it in the lesion or the lump. You have to rotate it in 3 different directions like this, and then remove the needle, attach a syringe where you have checked the patency, and put the material onto the slide and spread. In an aspirational procedure, you already have the syringe attached to the needle, and then you perform this entire process. Now let me come to the basic procedure. In any FNAC that you do, the basic pattern of whether you do a bone marrow or an FNAC is the same. You first take the clinical history of the patient. You then examine the patient and you see where the lesion is, whether you can reach it, what gauge of needle you need to use. Sometimes if the lesion is very small but superficial, a small gauge needle is enough. If the lesion is deep, a lot of fatty parenchyma is surrounding it, you need a wider bore lesion. It's a fat containing lesion. I prefer doing it with a wider bore lesion. You also have to sometimes assess that whether you will be using a 10 ml syringe to create the suction pressure or a 20 ml syringe. All this depends on your clinical acumen, the type of lesion that you are seeing, so you can adjust by that. Supposing I'll give you a small example. If I have a lymph node and I think that it is superficial and I can go by non-aspiration, I will first take all the clinical history, explain the procedure to the patient. If it is a female or a male, I keep a female or a male attendant with the patient in the room when I'm doing the procedure. Consent form is very important. In a child, the parent should be there. The parent should be signing on the behalf of the child. The parent should be there to comfort and hold the child, because it is very difficult to do FNACs in children. And sometimes we ask the pediatricians to please sedate the child and send to us if the lesion is somewhere near the major vessels, or else the child will move and we may damage the vessel and then it becomes a medical emergency. When you are starting, it is always preferred that you keep your co-PG with you and a senior. Don't do it alone. Why a co-PG, I'll tell you very soon why you need another help. And as you get experience in the process, you can do it alone also. It's not such a big deal. So after I have convinced the patient, I'll do the part preparation where I will make a position first. Like I told you in bone marrow, the position is fixed. In FNACs, the position is not fixed. You have to adjust the patient in such a way that the lesion becomes most palpable and most superficial. If the lesion is here, you don't have to do anything. You just have to make him close his eyes or put a cloth on his eyes and go from the head side and do the FNAC. If the lesion is small and here, you might have to extend or flex or tell him to lose the neck or put a pillow, whatever you have to make the lesion most superficial. The idea is do whatever you want, but make the lesion most superficial and most away from the major vessels that are surrounding it. The second most important part that you have to keep in mind as a troubleshooter, when you make the lesion most superficial, do keep in mind that you are able to fix the lesion. Until and unless you can fix the lesion between your two fingers, you will not be able to perform a good FNAC and you might cause damage. There are two ways of doing that. I do it by stretching the skin over the lesion. Supposing I have a lump over here, or supposing I have a lump over here, and I extend my neck and I can make out ki now I can palpate the lymph node better. Either some people like pinch out that lesion with some skin and then put the needle to do the FNAC. That way they are sure that they will not be reaching the blood vessels which are surrounding, because उस lump को उन्होंने उठा लिया थोड़ा सा away from the major vessel. Or what I do is I stretch the skin over it and then fix it, and then I can feel that from the other finger that yes, my lesion is not moving. It is fixed between my two fingers, and then I put a needle. Of course, once you start doing it, you'll get an idea बहुत अंदर नहीं जाना है, कितना जाना है. All that depends on the thickness of the lesion that you are palpating. Of course, part preparation has to be the preceding step for any procedure, where you clean the area from inside out, clean it twice or thrice, let the alcohol dry, and then you go in and do the procedure. Always tell the patient when you are putting the needle in, because the patient might jump suddenly. That will cause your needle to dislocate and injure the surrounding vessels. So जब डालने वाले हो, do tell the patient, don't move, you will feel a slight pinch, I am going in now. Just do that both for bone marrows as well as for FNACs. Coming to the syringe, I normally do it with a 10 ml syringe and I assess the kind of lesion and then the bore. If I use 18 gauge का use करना है, 23 का, 24 का, depends on the fat की lesion कितना बड़ा है, कितना superficial है, कितना fat से surrounded है. If it is too fatty, too deep, I use a more wider bore needle. If it is superficial, a fine bore needle is enough, because जितना बड़ा bore होगा उतना tissue damage भी ज़्यादा. Supposing I go into a lesion and I feel कि fibrotic lesion है, then I have lymph node is fibrotic. You can feel as if you will be breaking the septa inside the lymph node. You will get that feel given, and then that breaking का feel आता है. Fine. Then I use an aspirational technique. I always, whenever I'm taking a 10 ml or a 20 ml syringe, depending on कि मुझे idea लगता है कि इसकी yield कितनी आएगी. 20 ml का ज़्यादा vacuum बनता है तो ज़्यादा yield आता है. बट 20 ml में फिर उतना डैमेज भी उस वैक्यूम से होगा, तो आपको असेस करना पड़ेगा क्लिनिकली. व्हाट डीप लीजन्स हैं, फैटी लीजन्स, उसमें 20 ml यूज कर लो. आई ऑलवेज फर्स्ट चेक द पेटेंसी ऑफ द नीडल एंड द सिरिंज. नीडल को सिरिंज में डाल के, इट्स अ फ्रेश नीडल एंड अ सिरिंज, यू पुल द प्लंजर आउट एंड देन इन टू सी कि एयर पास हो रही है कि नहीं. इफ इट इज नॉट पासिंग, देन डिस्कार्ड एंड यूज अनदर वन. दैट इज नोन एज द पेटेंसी, बिकॉज अगर वो एयर कॉलम नहीं बनेगा तो वैक्यूम नहीं बनेगा तो सेल्स एस्पिरेट नहीं होंगे. And this is my way of doing it. It is not given in a textbook. Supposing this is the body of the syringe and here is the needle and here is your plunger. Okay, I always keep a very small area or a very small space over here. After checking the patency, I create a very small vacuum and then I go in and I do my aspiration. I feel that it eases the passage of cells into the hub of the needle. This is my concept. This is not given in books. Okay. So after you've done this procedure, and once you enter the lesion, now you have to multiple times poke the lesion like this. You have to stay inside the lesion. Suppose I'm inside the lesion, then I have to multiple times go like this in different directions to gather as much material as I can. Don't do it too vigorously, you lose material. Okay, moderate speed में करना है, and then after doing it 3-4 times, if you need to aspirate, then you can aspirate. If you don't want to, then you can remove the needle. One thing I do in this process is where you have to just put the needle in, the non-aspirational. I put my thumb over this hub over here, and I create a sort of a vacuum while I'm going inside the lesion like this. Again, this is something I do. I feel the yield comes better. And then again, I put the material on this slide using a syringe. When you put all the material on one slide, most of the time there's a lot of blood with it. What you have to do is not spread that one slide only, because your slide will go wrong, everything will be lost. What you have to do is एक बार में 6 to 7 slides आपका partner clean करके रखेगा while you do the procedure. You pick up another slide, you touch it to that drop, take a spreader and spread it on the second slide. ऐसे 3-4 स्लाइड से कर लीजिए, पहले स्लाइड से मटेरियल लेके, एंड देन यू स्प्रेड द लेफ्ट ओवर मटेरियल ऑन द फर्स्ट स्लाइड. ठीक है. वन मोर थिंग दैट यू डू इज, इस हब में, ये जो नीडल का हब है, इसमें हमेशा मटेरियल बचा रह जाता है. What I do is, I take the hub, I take a slide, I put my hand on a solid surface, and then I jerk. इस वाले पार्ट को I hit on the table so that whatever material is there caught in the hub will fall on the slide, and then I make a smear from that also. And this is my personal thing. I never discard the spreader. I have never done that because I feel कुछ ना कुछ material spreader में लगा रहता है. You can make as many slides as you want. Try making few slides rather than making 25 slides. Try doing it with least trauma so that not much blood dilutes the milieu. Also, you need a partner because ये procedure में air drying artifact बड़ा जल्दी आता है. तो जब आप ये एक स्लाइड से दूसरी स्लाइड पे लेके स्प्रेड कर रहे हो ना, तो यू कांट टेक योर ओन स्वीट टाइम डूइंग इट. यू हैव टू बी क्विक, अदरवाइज ऑल द सेल्स विल ड्राई अप एंड ड्राइंग आर्टिफैक्ट आ जाएगा, एंड देन अगेन लिम्फ नोड में बहुत प्रॉब्लम करता है, लिम्फोमा और रिएक्टिव में ड्राइंग आर्टिफैक्ट. सो इफ यू जस्ट पुट द स्मीयर एंड योर पार्टनर स्टार्ट्स प्रिपेयरिंग द स्लाइड ना, तो वो काम जल्दी होता है. एंड वंस यू बिकम एक्सपीरियंस देन यू कैन डू इट अलोन. ओके, so this is a bit about the procedure. See, this is the guided FNAC. In the guided FNAC, what you do is you have a ultrasound probe or a CT probe, and that helps you isolate. Supposing it's a breast mass, so surgery की books में you will read when you are palpating a breast lesion, you ask the patient to put their hands behind their head and then you palpate the axillary tail or the lymph nodes, etc. So that a process depends on the वो clinical knowledge आपको surgery की book से मिलेगी, practical surgery जब आप पढ़े होगे MBBS में. So supposing it's a breast, I make the patient's position. I have the ultrasound probe. I go along the probe क्योंकि मुझे monitor में lesion दिखा रहा होगा radiologist. So I go along the probe with my needle. I do the same thing, and then I make the smears by the same procedure. Smears can be air dried, can be quick fixed, can be fixed in alcohol depending on the type of stain you want. Tap is done good where the smear is fixed. AFB मुझे air dried smears में ज़्यादा अच्छा दिखता है. Mostly, supposing you make 8 smears, then 5 will be air dried, 2 will be fixed. And there are quick fixatives also that come, which you can just spray when you've gone to the radiologist, because guided FNAC radiology के setup में होती है. You will need a radiologist there to help you, who will show you कि यहाँ needle डालो, major vessels नहीं हैं और यहीं से maximum material मिलेगा. Guided FNACs you do mostly in retroperitoneal organs, liver abscess, lymph nodes which are retroperitoneal, or lesions which are near the major vessels, या even lesions which are in the neck जहाँ पे material नहीं आ रहा है. And you want to go in an area where you feel कि हाँ maximum material आना चाहिए, when you are basically asking for a repeat. Okay, the kind of needles that you use mainly for guided FNACs are these lumbar puncture needles, because the lesion is very deep. तो आप अपनी छोटी needle से वहाँ तक पहुँच नहीं पाओगे. In our setup, at least I use these 3 needles most commonly. Sometimes I use this also. These I have not used much, but you can use these needles in your own lab, in your setup, where you don't need a guided thing. The Franzen's handle, which is commonly available, not very commonly available, I should say. The grip over here that it makes, you fix your syringe and your needle over here, and the grip over here it gives you a very nice hold to perform the FNAC. So if you have this, then you don't have to keep in mind most of the things I'm telling you, because ये बहुत अच्छा FNAC करने का tool है, and this will help you a lot in getting a very good quality smear if provided your setup has this. Otherwise, what I'm telling you, you have to work with that. See, so technique troubleshoots may have told you about palpation and fixing. One more thing I wanted to tell you, if you are palpating a lesion which is cystic and you feel it can be vascular, try and go for a guided FNAC or try and avoid an FNAC, because if it is in continuity with a major vessel, you might cause a big catastrophe and clinical emergency in your lab at that time, or do it in an emergency setup. Okay. Then small versus large lumps, I've told you, superficial versus deep, only needles are non-aspirational, vacuum that I create I've told you, and what is non-aspiration I've already told you. So now coming to the normal cytology of a lymph node. Now next slide that you will see would be histopathology, where I'm going to explain to you that a lymph node, if you see under a microscope a histopathology section, it has a capsule, okay, then it has a cortex, okay, green is the capsule, sorry for my drawing, and then it has a medulla, okay, and in the cortex it has follicles which can be primary or secondary. I'll show you what they are. This area is paracortex, this area is mantle zone, and the area outside is marginal zone, and then comes your capsule, and there's a space, this something like this space over here, this let me use another color, yellow. This space over here, this one which I've colored, is known as the subcapsular sinus. You will get the hilar vessels wherever the hilum of the lymph node is. You will get this green, I'll show you again, the capsule sending in septa known as trabeculae up to the medulla, and you will get something known as the, I'm making with a darker red, high endothelial venules. I'll show all this to you in the next diagram. In the medulla, which is inside, you'll get more of plasma cells, macrophages, dendritic cells, some dendritic cells, etc. In the paracortex, that is the area between the two follicles, you will get T cells. They are T cell rich areas. In the follicles, you'll get more B cells. In the subcapsular sinus, you might easily catch metastasis, be of lymphomas, be of primary lymphomas developing there, or be of some epithelial lesion which is metastasizing. So subcapsular sinus is of great importance. Capsule sends in trabeculae, and the most important thing in a histopathology side you have to see in a capsule is whether it is thickened or not. Thickened capsule points towards chronicity of the disease or lymphomas. Okay, thick capsule, lymphomas or chronic lesions. Okay, कैप्सूल को ब्रेक करते हुए एक्स्ट्रा कैप्सुलर इन्वॉल्वमेंट भी होता है लिम्फोइड सेल्स का. ये बिनाइन कुछ लीजन्स में भी हो सकता है और मोस्ट कॉमनली ये लिम्फोमास में होता है. तो वो मैं हिस्टोपैथोलॉजी में डिटेल में लूंगी कि व्हाट एल्स यू हैव टू सी. अभी ये आके अच्छा ये आर्किटेक्चर जानना इससे जरूरी है क्योंकि आई ऑलवेज बिलीव दैट व्हेन यू डू एन एफएनएसी, a cytology is an interpretation of what histopathology is going on inside the body. Whatever histopath is going on in the lymph node, you will get a mirror image of that in your cytology set. Supposing I had a viral infection and I had a lymph node which was not going. Viral antigen जो कि venules और blood vessels से lymph node के अंदर आ रहा था through these sinuses, उसने जो फॉलिकल्स थे उन फॉलिकल्स में बी सेल्स थे, पैराकॉर्टेक्स में टी सेल्स थे, ये नाइव होते जब तक कि इनको नाइव, ऑल दिस इज पैथोजेनेसिस, नाइव मीन्स दे हैव नॉट येट बीन एंटीजेनिकली स्टिमुलेटेड. कोई एंटीजन आएगा तब उनसे अटैच करेगा, फिर वो स्टिमुलेट होंगे, फिर वो एंटीबॉडी बनाएंगे, किलर सेल बनाएंगे, हेल्पर सेल बनाएंगे. ऑल दिस इज योर सेकेंड ईयर रॉबिन्स. नाइव जितने भी सेल्स होते हैं वो प्राइमरी जर्मिनल सेंटर की तरह बने होते हैं. दे आर जस्ट ब्लू, आपको कोई डिफ्रेंसिएशन एंड कलर नहीं दिखेगी, कोई जोनेशन नहीं दिखेगा, बस एग्रीगेट्स दिखेंगे लिम्फोइड सेल्स. जब कोई वायरल एंटीजन उनके कांटेक्ट में आता है तो वो सेकेंडरी जर्मिनल सेंटर्स बनते हैं, वेयर यू आर गोइंग टू सी डिफरेंट शेप्स एंड साइजेस ऑफ सेल्स. सम आर मैच्योर, सम आर इमैच्योर, सम आर मेमोरी सेल्स. ये सब आपने रॉबिन्स में पढ़ा है कि ये कौन सी सेल्स क्या होते हैं. देन ओनली, एंड इफ यू नॉट देन गो अहेड, एमबीबीएस में आपने पढ़ा है. So if there is some sort of a reactive process जिसमें secondary germinal centers बन रहे हैं, वही चीज मुझे साइटोलॉजी में दिखेगी, इसलिए मुझे हिस्टोपैथ आनी चाहिए. So what are the type of cells that you can get in a lymph node? You can get a naive cell, you can get a centroblast, which is an immature form which has three nucleoli at the surface, a centrocyte which has cleaving in the nucleus, a immunoblast with one nucleoli, something like a plasma blast with a half eccentric nucleus and a single nucleoli, and a plasma cell which has a half and cartwheeling of the nucleus. इसका interpretation नीचे देखो, this is a naive cell, this is a centroblast, this is a cleaving notching, यहाँ दिख रही है, ठीक है. I will just rub it out. ये देखो, जहाँ मैंने red बनाया था, you can see this notch over here. Okay. Then this, see, a single central nucleoli, immunoblast. This looks like a plasmablast, and this looks like one nucleoli. And this is a mature small size plasma cell. थोड़ा सा opened up clumpy chromatin लग रहा है, and एक HOF है. Now try to identify these cells in this. So let us go ahead. I think this cell over here could be a centroblast, if I'm not wrong. This has one nucleoli here, one over here, and I don't know, this could be over here also. ठीक है. This is one central big nucleoli. You can see over here. So this could be an immunoblast. This is an immunoblast for sure. Look at that one central nucleoli. This could be a centroblast. See, if you can very clearly see, यहाँ पे तीन है, एक ये है, एक ये है, एक ये है. Okay. Then this appears to be a, see, this is a centrocyte. There's some cleaving over here. And then these are naive cells. In the background, there are also RBCs, and this is the lymphoglandular body. These blue something cytoplasmic fragments, these are lymphoglandular bodies. Now, presence of lymphoglandular bodies in any smear means it is of lymphoid origin. Earlier, it was said that lymphoglandular bodies are seen more in benign lesions. It is true, but it is also seen in lymphomas, so it is not a hard criteria. Only thing a lymphoglandular body points towards is that it is a lymphoma. Sometimes you will get lymphoglandular bodies in bone marrows, and you might be confused whether it is a leukemia or a lymphoma infiltration. Lymphoglandular bodies in bone marrow with lymphoid cells, atypical or blastoid. Think of lymphoma before you think of leukemia. Okay, primary or infiltration depends, but think of lymphoma first. Of course, this picture that I just showed you is known. This word is known as polymorphous smear. When you are reporting a lymph node, you have to comment upon the cellularity of the lymph smear. Smear is paucicellular, cellular, or hypercellular. Same like both. At least I do that. So a cellular smear shows polymorphous lymphoid population comprising of, then you name the cells, lying on a background of hemorrhage or few RBCs or necrosis, etc., admixed with few lymphoglandular bodies. If the clinician has suspected TB or malignancy, you add a line, no giant cell, no atypical cell, no malignancy, no granuloma, no parasite. See, this is the architecture of a report depending on what the clinician wants from you and what you are seeing. Always comment on the cellular, then the cellularity, the majority population you see, the minority you see, the background you see, and anything extra that you see. Okay, this is how I go about it. Lymphoglandular bodies, they stain pink on Romanowski, Leishman, or any other stain, and they stain blue on Giemsa. Just remember that. Grey blue, as you can see in this. Here you see a very nice histopath image. There is paracortex, there is marginal sinus over here. This is the capsule, this is the soft tissue adipose. This is the mantle zone just outside. This is a secondary follicle. This is a primary follicle. यहाँ पे कोई कलर वेरिएशन नहीं है. देखो यहाँ पे एक पेल एरिया है, देन एक डार्कर ब्लू एरिया है. दिस इज द मैंटल जोन, दिस इज द मार्जिनल जोन, दिस इज साइनस. ठीक है, दीज आर मेडुलरी कॉर्ड्स विच कंटेन द वेसल्स. ये दे रन अलोंग द ट्रैबिक्यूली जो कैप्सूल भेजता है. एंड देन देयर इज पेरिनोडल फैट. This color differentiation comes because each cell gets activated and is in the different stage of maturation. When you do an IHC over here, we look for ऐसे follicles, follicular lymphoma में भी मिलते हैं. So what we do is we have to see a lot of things. मैं lymphoma लूँगी तो मैं बताऊँगी histopathology में कि size of the follicles क्या है, mantle zone compress हो रहा है follicles से कि नहीं, uniform size follicles हैं कि variable size follicles हैं. यूनिफॉर्म मेनली फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमास में मिलते हैं. मैंटल जोन की कंप्रेसिंग मिलती है फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमास में, मतलब ये जोन आपका आपको दिखेगा कि सेल्स कंप्रेस हो रहे, जैसे किसी ने दबा दिया, उस स्पंज को जैसे दबाया जाता है, ठीक है, और ऐसे में ये बिल्कुल नॉर्मल रहेंगे। देन यू कैन यूज डेंड्रिटिक स्टेन्स आईएचसी के लिए, तो इनका मेश वर्क मेंटेन होता है आईएचसी में डेंड्रिटिक सेल्स का इन रिएक्टिव। फॉलिक्यूलोलिसिस होने लगती है इन फॉलिकुलर लिम्फोमास, ठीक है, टूटने लगते हैं फॉलिकल्स, और जो सेल्स एक फॉलिकल के अंदर होने चाहिए वो पैराकॉर्टेक्स में, मेडुला में बाहर फैलने लगते हैं। ऑल दैट इज फॉर हिस्टोपैथ, सो आई एम नॉट टेकिंग दैट इन डिटेल। अभी साइटोलॉजी पे ध्यान देते हैं, ठीक है। So this is the basic of what you would see in a reactive lymph node. So what are the benign lesions? एक lymph node के different areas में affect करते हैं benign lesion. कुछ benign lesions follicles को कर सकते हैं, कुछ benign lesion paracortex को करेंगे, कुछ marginal zone को करेंगे, कुछ diffusely पूरे lymph node को involve कर लेंगे. So follicular involvement ज़्यादातर होता है viral etiology हो, bacterial infection हो, या फिर follicular lymphoma. पैराकॉर्टिकल एक्सपेंशन होता है, इसमें इम्यूनोब्लास्ट बहुत सारे मिलते हैं। कहाँ कहाँ मिल सकता है ऐसा? इन्फेक्शियस मोनोन्यूक्लियोसिस में मिल सकता है, हॉजकिंस लिम्फोमा, एएलसीएल, पोस्ट वैक्सीन, पोस्ट थेरेपी ऑफ डायलेंटाइन। बहुत सारे हिस्टियोसाइट्स मिल सकते हैं एलसीएच में, साइनस हिस्टियोसाइटोसिस में, आरडीडी में, मैं सब दिखाऊंगी अभी आपको। इओसिनोफिल्स मिल सकते हैं एलसीएच में, हिमोराज डिजीज में, चोक्स्ट्रॉस डिजीज में इओसिनोफिलिक वो मिलते हैं आपको, ग्रैनुलोमास, इओसिनोफिलिक इन्फिल्ट्रेशन मिलती है। पैरासाइट्स में इओसिनोफिल्स खूब सारे लिम्फ नोड में मिलेंगे, ड्रग रिएक्शन हो रहा होगा तब मिलेंगे। डर्मेटोपैथिक लिम्फेडेनाइटिस एक एंटिटी है जहां स्किन की लीजन की वजह से एलर्जिक लिम्फ नोड फूल जाते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारे इओसिनोफिल्स मिलते हैं। वहीं बहुत सारे पॉलीमॉर्फ्स अगर मिल रहे हो, देन इट इज ईदर अ नेक्रोटाइज्ड बैक्टीरियल इन्फेक्शन लिम्फ नोड और समथिंग नोन एज अ किकुचीज डिजीज। जाइंट सेल्स मिल सकते हैं टीबी में, सार्कोइड में, पोस्ट बीसीजी एडेनाइटिस बच्चों में बहुत कॉमन है। बीसीजी वैक्सीन लगेगा, लिम्फ नोड फूल जाएगी, आप एफएनएसी करोगे, आपको उसमें ग्रैनुलोमा या जाइंट सेल मिलेगा, आप सोचोगे टीबी है, बट वो टीबी नहीं होता है, दैट इज ड्यू टू द बीसीजी वैक्सीन। हाइपर इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स होता है, इसका ट्रीटमेंट डिफरेंट होता है। हेंस व्हेन अ चाइल्ड कम्स टू यू विद अ लिम्फ नोड, ही इज इन दैट एज ग्रुप where you have to get a BCG infection. ऑलवेज एंड ऑलवेज इंक्वायर कि भैया बीसीजी वैक्सीन तो नहीं लगी है इसको हाल फिलहाल। पिगमेंट्स मिल सकते हैं, ये फॉरेन कंट्री में ज़्यादा मिलता है, आजकल इंडियन पॉपुलेशन में भी मिलेगा। कहीं टैटू कराया, टैटू इन्फेक्ट हो गया, या लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग टैटू का पिगमेंट ड्रेन होता रहा लिम्फ नोड में, रिएक्शन किया और लिम्फ नोड फूल गए। एफएनए करोगे, पिगमेंट लेडन मैक्रोफेजेस मिल रहे होंगे, आपके दिमाग में जाएगा कि कहीं इसको मेलानोमा तो नहीं हो रहा है। Pigment, you're getting pigment and you're getting large cells which might be a melanoma cell, because melanoma FNACs में किसी भी चीज को मिमिक कर सकता है, ठीक है। Then you have to go back, ask for a history कि भैया टैटू वैटू तो नहीं है आपको, कहीं नहीं है, then you go कि और कहीं lymph nodes तो नहीं है, या कहीं कोई स्किन लीजन, रेक्टल लीजन जहाँ मेलानोमास होते हैं तो नहीं है। सो FNAC is not just कि करके हो गया, क्लिनिको पैथोलॉजिकल रेडियोलॉजिकल कोरिलेशन के बिना FNAC में यू कांट गिव अ 100% डायग्नोस्टिक इंटरप्रिटेशन। Moving on, now coming to the images. I showed you a reactive lesion. Now what I wanted to show you in this was, I didn't, this was this is a not an image, this is not my personal image bank, but what I wanted to show you over here is that आपने FNA किया and you get a relatively paucicellular smear, जिसके बैकग्राउंड में यू कैन सी बहुत सारा हैमरेज है और ये ब्लू बॉडीज हैं, एंड देन यू गेट दीज सेल्स जिसके ये न्यूक्लियस बहुत बड़ा है, कुछ का मच्योर है, एक आध पॉलीमॉर्फ्स हैं, एंड यू गेट दिस। सो नाउ यू नो दैट इट इज अ पॉसीसेलुलर स्मीयर। जब आपने लीजन की FNAC की होगी आपको पता होगा कि वो लिम्फ नोड ही है, एंड यू गेट लिम्फोग्लैंडुलर बॉडीज एंड फ्यू एटिपिकल सेल्स. Now you're not going to give this as reactive lymphoma falana because this is not adequate enough to give that diagnosis. You can mention that you are seeing atypical looking lymphoid cells in a paucicellular smear. You know it is a lymphoid origin cell because lymphoglandular body is decreased. And you can ask for a repeat FNA, radiological findings or a biopsy depending on patient की condition क्या है। फाइन। ऑन दी अदर हैंड यू सी दिस इमेज, यहाँ पे आपको उस पॉपुलेशन के साथ बहुत सारे प्लाज्मा सेल्स दिख रहे हैं, ये एक बहुत प्यारा मैक्रोफेज दिख रहा है, एंड रेस्ट इज ऑल दिस लिम्फॉइड एंड प्लाज्मा। बैकग्राउंड में यू कैन गेट सम पिंकिश मटेरियल ऑल्सो। So this could be a plasma cell kind lesion. Depending on the age group you have to go for the diagnosis. बच्चा है, यंग अडल्ट है, ऑटो इम्यून दिमाग में पहले आता है, वहीं पे या लिम्फोमा हो जिसमें कि प्लाज्मा सेल कॉम्पोनेंट। अगर ये 68 ईयर ओल्ड होगा तो मेरे दिमाग में मल्टीपल मायलोमा, सॉलिटरी प्लाज्मा साइटोमा, प्लाज्मा सेल ल्यूकीमिया पहले आएगा। सो यू सी द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ नोइंग द क्लिनिकल हिस्ट्री। एंड एक नॉर्मल रिएक्टिव लिम्फोइड सेल, मैंने आपको इमेज दिखाई थी, में इतने प्लाज्मा सेल्स नहीं मिले। So this is not just plain reactive, there is something else going on in this. Okay. Next come to, now I am telling you the pitfalls only. TB में granuloma मिलता है, ठीक है। So here you see a syncytial slip granuloma with boomerang or slipper shaped vesicular nuclei and a lymphoid and a hemorrhagic background। अब इसको इससे कंपेयर करो, ये थोड़ा सा ज्यादा वेसिकुलर और खुला खुला फटा फटा है, ये ज्यादा सॉलिड है, बट बोथ अपीयर स्पिंडली प्लम्प। ओनली थिंग इज दिस इज मोर स्लिपर शेप, दिस इज मोर स्पिंडली। देयर आर विस्प्स ऑफ वेल डिफाइंड साइटोप्लाज्म एंड लेसर लिम्फोइड बैकग्राउंड। दिस इज कापोसी सार्कोमा, ठीक है। So these, another thing that you can confuse with is fibroblasts or endothelial cells. You will get spindly cells like this only, और ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा फटा और प्लम्प और वेसिकुलर होता है एपिथेलॉइड सेल, ये थोड़ा सॉलिड ज़्यादा होता है। और अगर ये एक वेसल खींच के आई होगी ना जिसका स्पिंडल सेल होगा, तो वो ऐसे होगी, सपोजिंग दीज आर स्पिंडल्स एंड दे विल बी इन सिंगल लाइन। आपको समझ में आ रहा होगा कि ये जो स्पिंडल सेल दिख रहे हैं ये एक लाइन में चल रहे हैं, that is they are forming part of a vessel. So these three things you can confuse when you are doing an FNAC and you are getting a group of spindly cells. This is a tingable body macrophage. हाई पावर में देखोगे तो ये न्यूक्लियस है और इसके साइटोप्लाज्म में डेब्री पड़ा है, टूटे फूटे सेल। दिस इन अ लो पावर इज हिस्टोप्लाज्मोसिस, सॉरी लीशमैनिया दोनों वन एलडी बॉडीज। इसमें जैसे मैंने आपको बोन मैरो में बताया था, हाई पावर में करोगे तो आपको प्रॉपर एलडी बॉडीज दिखेगी, ठीक है। अनदर थिंग दैट यू कंफ्यूज विद इज आरडीडी, रोजाइड ऑफमन। बिल्कुल ऐसे ही दिखेगा जैसे ये दिख रहे हैं, बट जब हाई पावर में करोगे तो आपको वायबल सेल्स दिखेंगे, डेब्री नहीं दिखेगी उसके साइटोप्लाज्म में। वायबल पॉलीमॉर्फ, वायबल लिम्फोसाइट, दैट बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ हीमोफैगोसाइटोसिस और रोजाइड ऑफमन, ठीक है। कमिंग टू हिस्टोप्लाज्मा कैप्सुलेटम, जब भी फंगल इन्फेक्शन होगा आप नॉर्मल स्टेन करोगे तो आपको ऐसे गोले दिखेंगे जिसके सराउंडिंग में हैलो दिखेंगे, ठीक है। देन दिस इज नेक्रोटिक बैकग्राउंड, you can get in fungal, bacterial, in TB also. So, and this is a reactive lymph node. Okay, this is a giant cell. Anyways, better image आएगी. So this is tubercular cold abscess. जब भी आपको FNAC में पस जैसा मटेरियल मिल रहा हो, always look for scattered degenerated epithelioid cells. AFB और ग्राम्स हमेशा कराइए. You might get these scattered in the polymorph का background. So this is a cold abscess of a TB. In a very well formed TB ऐसी फटी फटी नेक्रोसिस भी आती है कभी, और ऐसे एक आध जाइंट सेल्स भी दिखते हैं with other necrotic cells. This is a bacterial infection. इसके नेक्रोसिस जो कि it's like a curd, जैसे फटी हुई दही हो, और इसके नेक्रोसिस में डिफरेंस देखो. And these are reactive cells. Right? Now this is Kikuchi's. You can see these kind of sickle shaped histiocytes and a necrotic background. Kikuchi's disease, cat scratch disease, toxoplasma, all these can present with necrosis. So different types of necrosis में differentiate करने का तरीका है, like फटा हुआ cheese और like cheese like caseous granular appearances of that of TB, and a serous necrotic, not very granular but more clumpy with a lot of polymorphs, that is the appearance of a bacterial abscess. Sometimes you get a clear background with a lot of polymorphs and few scattered epithelioid cells, that is cold abscess of TB. Okay, and then of course there's Kikuchi's. Again, this is necrosis. See, this is not TB, this is more clumpy, and that was more like phata hua background. See, another necrosis. Now you see this one. In the necrosis, you see acid fast bacilli. Parasites. You will, if you do an FNAC, get dirty background and membranes. And sometimes a negative image of a hooklet can be seen. I have seen it. Sometimes you get giant cells. So a dirty background with fragments of membranes. Think of a parasite. When you do FNAC of a parasitic lesion, the material that comes out is clear. FNAC of a lymphoid lesion gives a dirty, serous whitish material. Blood mix, ज़्यादा blood होगा तो of course red हो जाएगा. But this is how you catch the material. Parasitic lesions give you clear fluid. जब आप उसको spread करोगे, then you might get these fragments. ये जो hooklets मैंने mark किए हैं, these, ठीक है, these ये ascaris and all that में मिलता है. These you can appreciate better in AFB. So this I always get a Romanowski and an AFB both done. Various types of histiocytes. I have shown you tingle body. See, now this is Roside-Hoffman. You will see viable polymorphs, lymphocytes in a histiocyte. These are viable cells. They are not dead. Isme, they are dead. You can see pigment-laden macrophages. You can see oncocytic kind of macrophages clustering and confuse it with a salivary gland or a parotid lesion. ठीक है? Again, this is chimeras. You see histiocytes and eosinophils. Now, these three images that I want to show you. See, this is the reactive that I showed you. Now, see this cell, and then you see this cell. Sometimes you do an FNAC and you see a slide where you feel कि polymorphous है background, but जो cells हैं बड़े-बड़े वो routine centroblast centrocyte की तरह नहीं लग रहे, अजीब से बड़े-बड़े हैं, bizarre हैं, and nuclear and cytoplasmic vacuolation. This is ALCL, anaplastic large cell lymphoma. This lymphoma very commonly in children mimics reactive lymph node and gets missed. You have to be very careful when you call a lymph node reactive. Thoroughly examine it. Look for vacuoles. Look for bizarre cells. Floret cells, जैसे flower जैसे cells भी मिलते हैं इसमें कभी-कभी ऐसे flower जैसे पूरा इसका nucleus होगा और ये cell होगा. And then only give your diagnosis. Sometimes you will get these ये biopsy image है Hodgkin-like cells in this smear also with eosinophilic nuclei and a reactive background. Again, you might think कि now this kind of Hodgkin-like cell mimics with another benign condition, EBV infection, infectious mononucleosis हो रहा, EBV का infection हो रहा, उसमें Hodgkin-like cells मिलेंगे, लेकिन होगा वो EBV. So you need to, you can't ऐसा नहीं कि देख के आप तुरंत बोलोगे EBV है. You have to look for the background कि Hodgkins versus EBV में क्या मिलता है. EBV में ज़्यादा mononuclear cells मिलेंगे, Hodgkins में reactive background भी मिल सकती है. You have to go for immunohistochemistry, cytochemistry, and clinical correlation. Okay. So this is the end of this part. I have today just introduced you and sensitized you to the topic of cytopathology. I will be dealing with the lymphomas next, and of course we'll be discussing some benign lesions which mimic lymphomas there also. Please tell me what improvement you want in the cytopathology lectures. My next lecture I'll be alternating hemat and cyto. So next would be on vitamin B12 deficiency. I hope you like this presentation. I hope it has helped you in some way. I am open to your suggestions. Please tell me what more you want. And thank you. And I hope you like what I have done. Thank you so much for your support and your patience hearing.